Let me dive into some architecture here. I mean, obviously, I just talked about the challenges, some of the best practices. Obviously, the zero trust approach, not trusting any device that enters in your environment. I did talk about that principle of least privileges. So when a user enters your environment, what privileges do they have? Do they just have access to that one piece of equipment or just the application? In the healthcare industry, from speaking with Steve, a lot of the healthcare industry just opens up a web portal to some type of Vantage healthcare provider, right? It's all web based, right? Are we protecting those? Even those simple web portals. How do we protect that? And how do we have an auditing trail? How do we have visibility on particularly those instances? And then secure access to the edge. From our particular standpoint, we have two pieces of equipment that we could leverage. And I'm going to zoom in here to kind of talk about that. So we have our central manager here, and this is again OT focused, but we can solve any IT or OT use case that you bring to the table. So our central manager, again, we only require 443 inbound traffic. Our appliances either come in a hard form factor or virtual form factor, and we also have private cloud deployment or agents, not agents, images, excuse me. So the Xona Central Manager can be placed anywhere that you see fit. So we can grab this box and potentially move it into the IT DMZ. And as I mentioned, we have a cloud deployment image, right? Our gateways, again, and the purpose of my diagram is just to kind of show the flexibility of our solution and where it sits. I think ultimately at the end of the day, what we want to do and what we want to achieve is the minimization of these vulnerable protocols to choke them down to as closest to the assets that we're trying to protect as possible. Whether you're an OT manufacturer or oil industry or healthcare, this is all going to look different. So that's why we have flexible deployment options, hence, right? So you could place it as close to the assets if we're looking at a Purdue, which is more of an OT framework, or an ISA, IEC, zones and conduits 62443 framework, or even an ISO framework, right? Or NIST framework. The point is here that you could place our gateways wherever you see fit. And that's why I've placed them at three different locations or three different sites and at three different layers or levels in the zones. There's no right or wrong way here. The point is, again, to minimize the exposure of the RDPs, VNC, SSH, and web protocols and keep them as choked down to the site as possible, never exposing them. I even have clients that want to potentially place our central manager in the cloud and then protect multiple sites with a CSG. Now, I would always kind of shy away from potentially doing this, but this is a valid use case. There's going to be times and use cases and scenarios that this is going to be the perfect placement of our boxes. So again, there's no right or wrong way. It's just really up to the client at the end of the day and how secure they want the site to be or sites. Some of the solutions that we have, obviously, that are available in the market, you have identity access management solutions, privilege access management solutions. Again, I think ultimately at the end of the day, breaking that protocol and providing a clean kind of session for that user to interact with is the best approach when we're talking about access. So let me go into a particular demo, approximately 20 minutes here.